It is no secret that Destiny 2 hasn't been in a good place since its September 6th, 2017 release. At launch, the game's reputation was already marred by how they changed shaders from unlockables to consumables. From there, following numerous complaints about game modes, features, activities, and balancing, and an incident involving a group of PC players being banned in error, the big spark that finally lit the community's ire was when players found out that Bungie was secretly throttling XP to those who earned them too fast to prevent them from obtaining free engrams at a pace that might interfere with Eververse microtransactions. Bungie proceeded by removing the throttling system after they got caught red-handed and after issuing a blanket apology statement. But then they drew further ire by secretly doubling XP requirements, forcing them to issue yet another blanket apology. From there, players found out that Bungie locked old vanilla content and features behind the new and underwhelming Curse of Osiris DLC, that 3 of Coins was released bugged, and that players were receiving duplicate exotics on occasions that they shouldn't be, that the Holiday Dawning event centered around insidiously selling more cosmetic content via the abhorrent Eververse marketplace, that Sony and Bungie had pushed Destiny 2 ads onto PlayStation 4 dashboards over the holidays despite the game being in such a dire state, that Bungie had rebooted Destiny 2's development sometime in early 2016 and only spent 16 months actually building the game, that they decided to focus on the Eververse and cosmetic microtransactions because releasing substantial content consistently was too hard, that Bungie's response to a disastrous 2017 was basically that they would be reverting Destiny 2 to be more like Destiny 1 throughout 2018, putting into perspective just how far back the sequel had regressed from its predecessor. And more recently, players discovered that Bungie was secretly throttling Faction Rally tokens in the latest Faction Rally event, and that they had not included any of Curse of Osiris's 15 new faction weapons into the Ingram rewards pool, both of which Bungie admitted was intentional after the fact. All of this happened in less than 5 months, and throughout one disaster after another, one thing ties it all together: Bungie's consistent pattern of underhanded secrecy and lack of transparency. On each one of these troubling occasions, players had to discover for themselves or peruse the Destiny 2 forums to find out just what the hell was going on and why certain gameplay features weren't working as intended. One popular post from the Destiny 2 subreddit put it best: "I should never have to come to Reddit to understand what's happening in a game." Suffice to say that even the most hardcore Destiny fans are none too happy about the current state of the game and are sick and tired of hearing the same half-assed, vague response from Bungie time and again, which basically bogs down to, "Things aren't working as intended, this was a mistake, we're listening to feedback, we'll communicate and do better next time." Problems with Destiny 2 have become so extensive and wide-reaching that even popular Destiny 2 streamers and YouTubers are beginning to shift away from the game. We're talking about content creators who have built their entire brand around Destiny coverage. Among the most prominent figures in the Destiny 2 community is a YouTuber going by the name of Dotto, who in a recent 15 minutes channel update video explained why it's such a bummer to be a Destiny-focused content creator right now and why he'll be shifting away from his usual Destiny content to diversify and branch out. Among the points that he brought up include that due to a lack of content, Destiny 2 is not the kind of game that needs the coverage that he does for it, that the latest Destiny 2 development update indicates that 7 out of the 9 outlined months in the 2018 timeline are likely to be uneventful to do content for, that his videos overall have been getting less views since people are becoming less and less interested in Destiny 2 content, as the content itself is becoming less and less interesting, that Dotto himself is becoming less interested in making videos like weapon updates because he stopped caring, and that he's been mentally drained by all the negativity and complaining surrounding this game that he wanted to love, stating that it's just not fun to make Destiny 2 videos or stream Destiny 2 gameplay anymore as a result, and that he himself doesn't want to contribute to the negativity. He also talked a bit about some of the hardships that come with having to upload content on YouTube to keep his channel alive, even when there's nothing to talk about, and how because he's been a Destiny-focused channel for so long, diversifying is difficult, as non-Destiny videos just won't get very many views. He did emphasize that he's not boycotting Destiny 2 outright, or that he will stop producing Destiny content altogether, but in the game's current state, he is winding down on some of his Destiny video series, as the content just isn't there, or the videos are simply no longer fun to produce. This is further expressed in a tweet that Dotto posted that reads, quote, "I'm trying to make a faction rally video. A, I just don't care, nor can I get myself to care. B, anything I say is probably nothing new and feels like it just adds fuel to the fire. But man, do I really need some Destiny videos. Not a good situation to be in." Another prominent Destiny YouTuber and streamer who's moving away from the game is King Gathalion, who sent this message to his subscribers. "Hey buds, short and sweet here. I love Destiny, always will, always have. But it's time to separate my channel branding away from the game to promote future growth. Sub badges will no longer be ghosts as soon as my new logo badges are completed, and bit badges will be something different soon. I love y'all and thank you for supporting a transition into more variety. Fortnite streams have been amazing. A lot of fun stuff on the horizon as well. Monster Hunter and Sea of Thieves is going to be a blast. Looking forward to it." Next up is a Destiny YouTuber going by the name of Patrick Casey, who kicked off his video with the following statement.
So, I haven't uploaded in a while, mostly due to not finding writing scripts or editing videos very interesting. And also, Destiny 2 just isn't the type of game that needs the content that I make right now. When every weapon's more or less the same thing, do you really need me to tell you that multiple times per week per video?
From there, he proceeded by explaining in detail everything that's wrong with Destiny 2 right now from his perspective, and finally concluded by discussing the state of his channel. Points he brought up include that he's just tired of doing content on the game, especially when the type of videos that he enjoys making isn't supported by the game's overall sandbox, and that he can't diversify into games like Warframe, The Division, and World of Warcraft, since there are already people who know what they're doing with those games, and since he would have to spend hundreds of hours to learn the ins and outs of these games. He did, however, express interest in shifting focus towards upcoming games like Monster Hunter World and games of that nature. So yeah, these are just a handful of examples of content creators who have decided that it's time to shift away from Destiny 2. There are also many more out there who have expressed similar sentiments. None of these guys are boycotting Destiny 2 outright, but they do feel as though the game is no longer compelling enough to make substantial videos about, or for them to have fun making these videos. So they're trying to diversify until that changes one day, and to avoid a situation like this in the future where they feel sort of trapped with Destiny and have nowhere else to go. Can't say I blame them. At this point, I honestly think that Destiny 2 is done. With the roadmap they have laid out for 2018, which is basically to revert Destiny 2 back to be more like Destiny 1, I see very little opportunity for this game to make a comeback and to rekindle interest in a community that's pretty much just abandoned the game at this point. We are no longer just looking at a straw that broke the camel's back type of situation. We are talking about a tree that fell on and crushed the poor animal. You can see the anger in the forums, and you can tangibly feel the disillusionment when you hear Destiny content creators talk about the current state of the game and their respective channels. They all just sound so exhausted and bummed out, especially since they all wanted to love this game. It truly is a damn shame, and speaking from experience, I know exactly where they're coming from. You may recall that I was once upon a time a Metal Gear focused channel before the series went to shit after the Konami Kojima debacle. It was incredibly painful to behold, and trying to transition and move on from that was undoubtedly the most difficult time of my YouTube career. I know what it's like to see a game franchise you have dedicated years covering and building a passionate community around, this franchise that you loved, just wither and die, and I know what it's like to feel sort of lost as a result. I've been where many of these Destiny-focused content creators are now. Fortunately for me, I did manage to diversify early. I was lucky enough that Kojima bounced back so quickly with Death Stranding. I was lucky to find topics that I'm passionate about that resonated with many other people as well, and I was incredibly lucky to have a community that supported me through thick and thin. Now, I'm well aware that a lot of Metal Gear fans miss my old content. I know that some just don't like many aspects of this channel's current direction, and I miss the good old days too, trust me, but After Konami took over Metal Gear, the series became something akin to a sinking ship, and I wasn't about to go down with it. It's not that I boycotted Metal Gear or anything like that, but there's just nothing on that front that is currently worth talking about. I simply can't bring myself to extensively cover a game like Metal Gear Survive, because I couldn't give two shits about this game. It may have Metal Gear's coat of paint, but it's not Metal Gear. Anyway, my point with all of this is that Destiny-focused channels are currently in a very similar situation where they have to juggle and balance the identity they have established through a game series that's slowly withering away, with a path moving forward that will fulfill them in the long term. It's really tough, and their departure from Destiny 2 is definitely going to cause a rift in their respective communities. But at the end of the day, YouTubing is about what one's passionate about, and if they're losing faith and passion for Destiny 2, I say that now is a good time to move on to greener pastures. That's just one man's opinion though. I'd love to hear what you think about all this in the comments below. Also, to Bungie and Activision, I say I hope your precious microtransactions and loot boxes were worth the irreparable damage you have done to the Destiny 2 name and community. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you found this video insightful, and if you enjoy my content, consider supporting me on Patreon. It is completely optional, but your support will go a long way in helping this channel remain stable, grow, and evolve. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!